Hello, my beautiful cuddlebugs. Welcome to Ramblings of a Book Dragon, where we dive into the warmth of good books and unravel stories that feel like a literary hug. I'm Allie, your host, and I'm thrilled to embark on another cozy adventure with you. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, snuggle into your cozy reading nook, and let's begin. But before we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that you won't miss a single episode. I really value your feedback and book recommendations. Now let's begin. Today I'm reviewing The Christie Affair, written by Nina De Gramont and performed by Lucy Scott. It is a reimagining of what happened during the 11-day disappearance of Agatha Christie, but the story mainly follows the mistress, a Miss Nan O'Day. In the blurb we're asked, why? Why destroy another woman's marriage? And how was she tied to Agatha Christie's disappearance? I am conflicted on my thoughts about this book because on the one hand, I really liked the author's writing. I thought it was really good. But on the other hand, I did not like the fact that it was written in first person because and it's called The Christie Affair, so you would think we would get more information about the affair. And we get about lead up to the disappearance and Agatha telling Nan that she knows about the affair with her husband and blah, blah, blah. And then she decides to disappear, so we get an idea of kind of the lead up. But then all of a sudden we get into Nan's whole backstory and life. And I'm like, why? And it's all told from Nan's perspective. So it's just like, I see what the author is doing because it starts off pre-World War I, where she grows up in England, and then she's sent to Ireland to be with her aunt and uncle on their farm to help them out over the summers. And she falls in love with the neighbor's son, and then they get separated for a couple of years during World War I. They were going to get married. Then the war ends. And then he comes back and they decide that they're going to get married and they have sex. And then she becomes pregnant. And then he becomes sick with the big bad flu that was taking down everyone. And when she goes to him, his parents find out that she's pregnant, and they take her to this nunnery place, and it's a really awful, horrible place. And I see what the author is trying to do here with wanting us to feel sympathy for her, but I don't know what it was about. I don't know if it was the narrator or just I don't know what it was, but I did not feel very sympathetic for Miss Nan O'Day. Her situation was horrible, but there were things that just annoyed the crap out of me with this book. And it just, I don't know, I was just wanting to just move forward through Nan's history because, because it felt like Nan was the main character of this book. And it's I don't care. I want to get back. I know there's a million books out there where we get Agatha Christie's stories. So that was an interesting way of looking at this. And I haven't read any other Agatha Christie books about the days of her disappearance. So I have no idea how the other books are. But it was just interesting because the fact that we're seeing everything from Nan's perspective, but then she's like, oh, we became best friends in the end. So I know all this information, but I kind of wish that we had... it's never really explained why she would know some of the things that she knows, because it's she's putting herself into Agatha Christie's head and saying, I think she would have done this because of this. And it's just she just seems very arrogant and not a likable character. And I think that can be a good character for a book. Not all characters have to be likable, and even a main character can be unlikable. That is a whole thing in books. But it just was I don't care. I wanted more of Agatha. And the other thing is, I wanted more about the affair because we get so much detail about her time growing up, her time in Ireland, her time falling in love with Finbar, blah, 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 blah. And then going to the horrible place for pregnant women where they're abused. And that was just horrific to read and listen to. And that didn't help anything either. But it's a good thing to learn about and read about, obviously. But it's just she then just glossed over the whole affair aspect of it. It's like the question is answered of why, but I didn't like the why, because it turns out, she was pregnant, and at this place, these young women, they lose their babies because the babies are adopted out to other families. And you hear about this in other places. And the women never see their families again. And she sees a man coming in after her baby is born and leaves with her baby, but she has no idea who it was. She thinks she heard something, and I think what would have been a better twist, because it's clear she had not even a psychotic, that's not the right word. It's clear she went through a lot in this book. She went through horrific things in this book, but I think because in the end, as always, I just completely spoil it. In the end, she's saying, my baby was taken. I need to find my baby and bring it back. I can feel this thread. And so she believes that the baby, it was taken by Agatha Christie and her husband, Archie. So that's why she looks all over the place until she finally finds them, and then she begins the process of changing herself and getting herself into Archie's life so that she can then seduce him into having this affair. And the thing that annoyed me too is that no one ever said to Nan, okay, and going all over the place as always. But at the end, because Agatha Christie, after the affair happens and Archie was going to leave Agatha, and so Agatha runs away before she can do this. She goes in her car, leaves the car at a lake, and then she disappears for 11 days. And Archie's like, "This is horrible. I'm scared. What's going on? Is Agatha dead?" And it turns out she goes to this. She goes off to this area. And so then, because of all this stuff with the affair, Archie tells Nan, hey, you need to make yourself scarce. So she decides to go to this hotel. We never really know why until the very end of the book, why she went to this specific hotel. But then it turned out that staying at an abandoned house near the hotel is Agatha, and as well as her former lover, Finbar. And I felt so sorry for poor Finbar. I just wanted to give him hugs because Nan just treated him like utter trash. And it's like, you could have, I see what the author was trying to do, but my sympathy for Nan just kept on depleting more and more and more. I think it's purely because of the fact that she stole Agatha's husband, and she never felt any remorse. It was like she was blaming Agatha and her husband. And I kind of almost wish, because for the majority of the book, once they found each other again, Agatha was saying, my daughter is mine. This is my daughter. Nan would never believe me if I tried to have her look at the birth certificate. She would say that they were forged. All of that. And then in the end, she says, yes, the baby was yours. I couldn't get pregnant. So Archie went and got a baby for me. And that just, I wish that they had simply explained it a little more. I wish that there was an additional conversation, because it's never really explained if the baby was really Agatha's or if the baby was really Nan's and she actually did all this. Because I think it would have been a lot more interesting, and I think it would have made even more sense, to be honest, if there was a psychotic break that happened and she had become obsessed with finding her baby. She was following all these clues that she thought she had, and it turned out that it was all in her head. I think that would have been a lot more interesting, because the first half of the book was very interesting up until all the stuff with all the stuff with Nan's life history is I don't care. I did not care. And I know I was supposed to care. That was the whole point. That was the whole point of all this, is to make us care about Nan and why. I understand that, but I did not care. And you've heard that a million times now, so now I'm done. But then later on, when they're all at the hotel and at the manor house that that Agatha was hiding at, it was reading like a really weird fever dream because Finbar, it turned out, had found Agatha when she left a car at the side of the lake, and he's like, come with me. I want you to talk Nan into leaving with me so that you can get back with your husband. And this was before Agatha had decided Archie is not worth it. So she had agreed to go with Finbar because she didn't really have a plan. She was just leaving and she wanted, so she went with him, and this is how this all happened. But then everyone is looking for Agatha. We have the whole chase going on. And then this police officer finds Agatha at the house because he was following Nan, because there was also 2 deaths at the house, and it was not at the house, at the hotel. And so it's kind of just trying to figure out like what happened here, because there was all this other drama that was going on with this other couple that was bickering, even though they just got married and everything. And so we have a murder mystery within the book that is around Agatha. So the police officer follows Nan, and then because he believes that Nan would be somehow related and help him get to Agatha. So then Agatha bats her eyes at the police officer and is like, oh, give me a couple more days. I can't go back yet. I want to go back. I don't want to go back yet. Just give me a couple more days. So he agrees. And then somehow in all of this, the 2 become lovers. And this is all happening in the course of 11 days and this is part of the thing that annoyed me about the first person narrative aspect of this is how the heck would and I think my theory with all of this is that they are having the reason why she had Nan tell the story is so that Nan is feeling better about what's going on. Like, oh, Agatha will be fine because she found someone. This is all fantastic. We're all in this wonderful situation with this house. It was this perfect place where we were all able to hide away from society. She and Finbar reunited and having all their fun again. And then Agatha and the police officer having their fun together. And this was all in a couple of days. And this wasn't even in 11 days. This was in a couple of days. And the police officer found himself falling in love with her. And then later on, we find out that the reason why the couple was killed was because it was the nun and the priest that were abusing all the girls for all those years. They had fallen in love and decided to get married. So Nan and some of the other girls that had lost their babies and were abused had decided to get the ultimate revenge, murder. So they got that. So they arranged it all. And then the weirdest thing that did not make sense in this book, among the many things that didn't make sense in this book, was that somehow Agatha was like, okay, I just found out that the woman who's stealing my husband and believes that she is the mother of my child is a murderess. She is a self-declared murderess. So she turns to the police officer and says, oh, don't arrest her. It's fine. Just ignore it. And Agatha is fine with letting this woman be around her daughter. Like, I'm not a mother, so I wouldn't know anything about any of that. But it's like, just the fact that she was painting Agatha in all this way, it's like, what in the heck is going on in this book? It doesn't make sense. The only thing that I liked, not the only thing that I liked, but the closest that we got to an actual confrontation between Agatha and Nan was when Finbar was trying to get Agatha to talk Nan into going home. And they were finally having their confrontation about the fact that Nan had stolen Agatha's husband. And Nan had tried to turn her face to hide away from her. And Agatha had taken her hand away and said that, like, no, you don't make me comfort you when you stole my husband from me. Like, no, like, And then Nan was like, I lost something more important. Like, I get it. You lost your baby. That is very important. And that what you went through was absolutely horrible. And Finbar had told Agatha about all this. But I wish that there was a conversation where someone had told Nan that 2 wrongs don't make a right. And just because, like, yes, losing your child is horrible. This situation was absolutely horrific. But stealing a woman's husband, doing all of this is not right either. Like, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And she never really felt remorse. And that was, and so I do see that perspective of putting us into her head instead of making it third person. So that is an interesting way of looking at this too, is see, and that's why I'm conflicted with it, is it's an interesting character analysis, because it's clear in this book that she does not feel any remorse. She would do it again. But then it's weird, because why would Agatha Christie leave her husband and her child with a murderess? Like, yes, she did this. She did this out of self-defense, because like this, there was a clear intent, there was a clear motive behind what happened with the priest and the nun. Okay, I get that. But what's to stop her from plotting against Archie? If there is a perceived slight, if she thinks that Archie is going to leave her and prevent her from seeing his perceived idea of her being a stepmother, what if he grows bored of her? What if he decides to divorce her and say, you are not the child's mother, you are not allowed to see her anymore? Like, what if she decides to plot again? Like, and Agatha was just like, oh, okay, it's fine, you can just continue to see her. Like, just, it doesn't make sense. And that's part of what annoyed me with this book, is things just got super convoluted. It felt like this murder mystery was shoehorned in. There's a lot of things that felt like it was shoehorned in, and there was definitely things that I wish were different. So yes, this was a rant. This was definitely a major, major, major rant. I apologize if you liked it. I just wish that it was less of a thing about like, and maybe this is me trying to lessen the blows, because it was a good idea to see what was going on there, but I wish that we had spent less time on Nan's life and more time developing the actual affair. Like, I think that would have been more interesting. Like, seeing and like having her go to the place where she was working, getting her in front of Archie, having her seduce him in that way, like doing that instead of popping us in the middle of the affair when he's about to leave and then going back, or even having it at that point and then going back in time to when she was first getting herself involved. And instead of it felt convoluted and it didn't mesh well, these two ideas. And it's like, well, why would Agatha Christie lie like that? Like, it felt like it was kind of trying to be like Archie went and got a baby because he could, because he's a rich man. And like, well, that doesn't quite fit. I mean, I don't know. Like, why would it just doesn't fit well with any of this other stuff. Like, why would they lie? Why would they keep that to themselves? It doesn't make sense. And I just wish that there was also a conversation with Archie, because it was just like, well, I just don't like the fact that we had that unsolved. And it's a good thing to think about. Like, okay, is the child who's now about 7 years old, is it really a coincidence that the child was born on the same day, or is it really her baby? And I don't like the way the author did it. I just don't like anything about this book. And I know I should have just stopped it the way it went earlier on in the book than I did, but it is what it is. And it was interesting to think about, but there is definitely a lot that I wish could have been improved upon, but I think this is definitely a starting point with Agatha Christie books about the disappearance, and I would like to see other books of her about it that would hopefully give us a bit more stuff and make it a little bit crazy the way it was. But I think that is where I'm going to leave you for right now. I will catch you next time, my beautiful cuddlebugs. Take care. Bye.